So we'll start the class. Chant Om 3 times. And each time as you are breathing in and letting the Omkar come, just send out all the fruits of what you have got yesterday and today back to the mother. She will know how to handle it. Breathing in. Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So we are coming to the second day, and one of the reasons that they give the lotus so often in the Suktam, Padmastita, Padmavarnam, everything to do with the lotus, is because they are trying to give you a likeness between you and the Devi. The soul also is evolving. The soul of the sadhaka is evolving. And when the soul is evolving and progressing on a spiritual path, the soul is slowly growing above the mundane aspects of the material, what you call the mud or the impermanent transient world, going beyond the mundane reality and slowly unfolding its petals. It doesn't come out in one rush, slowly, according to its capacity to handle. Unfolding the petals means your potentials that she has given to you, and frees itself, the soul, from the impurities, worldly impurities, and blossoming into a liberated being. So that is what the whole thing is about. And when you become perfect, even though you are dwelling in the world, you are not affected or touched by the world. That is what the lotus represents. It grows in the mud and then it grows through the water. It might be dirty water, but when it comes out and opens out its petals to the sunlight, the lotus, and then rain falls on it, you will see that the water does not stay on the petals. It sometimes just stands like a crystal and you shake it and it flows out. It does not drench the petals. So that is how we are supposed to be, with a total sense of renunciation. And that is what Krishna says also in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, give me just a leaf, patram, phalam, pushpam, toyam. Anything, just one of each or just one. And if you have none of the others and you don't have water, then the tears from your eyes is enough as you yearn to know me. And that is enough for me. I don't need a garland of flowers. I don't need great ornamentation. My ornamentation, the divine says, is your humility, your selflessness, your dedication, your gratitude, your capacity to help other beings, other creatures of that I have created, seeing me in them. These are your ornaments, not necessarily the gold and silver that you wear. Titiksha, endurance. So when you come to that, now we are talking about the Devi, who is called the Kamakshi. Vishnu is called the Kamalaksha. Kamalaksha means one with the lotus-like eyes. Why is it lotus-like eyes? Everywhere you will see, when Sri Rama is described, they'll say that he has lotus-like eyes. When Krishna is called, uh, described, they'll say he has lotus-like eyes. Why? Because they are large eyes which can take in the whole of creation, not just to one person or the other. The whole of creation is his child, and the whole of creation is reflected as a divine purity and sattva guna in the detached sadhaka. It is she in his name because he is the consciousness and she is the Shakti. So she is the one who creates and sustains with unconditional love and no desire. You have to remember that. There is unconditional love. You might go, and it's like the Guru. You go, somebody was asking me today, supposing I go to the Guru, and supposing I walk away from the Guru to somebody else, and then I come back, will I be part of the tradition? Yes, you will be part of the tradition. Yes, you belong to your Guru. Yes, you belong to the mother, because wherever you go, the mother, speaking through the voice of the Guru, makes him unconditional. He doesn't say you have to be like this and this and this. I take you as you are. That is the unconditional love without any desire. He doesn't desire that you should be like this, like that. That person must build a temple for me. That person, after all, it's a sadhaka. If you remember, there is a story by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, which I've said it often, about his disciples would cross the river Ganga to come to where he stayed in a boat. And at one time, the one of his students came in, disciples, and then he said, I was coming in the boat, and people started saying, why are you going in that boat to that madman? He is not a yogi or anything like that. And they started making fun of you in my presence. But since you said, I must have ahimsa, then I didn't say a word. I let them say what they did, and I came. Then immediately Ramakrishna told him, what an idiot you are. You did not even have the gratitude to me to stand up and talk on my behalf. You simply allowed it to go around you and you kept quiet. Then this student was very surprised. And the next day, another disciple came. And the other disciple had heard this also. So when the same thing happened, he said, you know what I did, Guruji? As soon as people started saying nasty things about you, you think I would keep quiet? I got up and I bashed one or two of them and I shut up their mouths. And the Guru said, I've been talking to you so much about ahimsa, and you could not restrain your senses from getting up and fighting. So the third disciple who was watching said, I don't understand this. Two, one, you are saying that he has to, why didn't you stand up and defend me? And to the other one, you are saying ahimsa, so why are you defending me? So are you contrary? And this is sometimes the doubts that many disciples have about the Guru and about the God who speaks through the Guru. Because sometimes the Guru will tell us unpalatable things, and it is really a test of our own inner faith in the Guru's words, in the words of the mantra, which keeps us consistent and on the path. Imagine if you are drilling for water in a particular place and somebody has told you, the water diviner has told you, if you go 100 feet or so, you'll strike water. Then you go to 50 feet or even 100 feet and you don't strike water. And then you say, oh, this man must have been, maybe he's not an expert, he doesn't know. So let me go and try elsewhere. At 101, there would have been water, it would have come gushing out. But by moving from there to somewhere else, he did not get water at all. Why? Because there is no faith. And remember, in any scientific inquiry, faith is absolutely necessary. People often say that science and faith are not compatible. If the scientist did not have faith in his capacity to do the scientific research, if he did not have faith in the people who have done half that research and left it unfinished, If he did not have the faith that his team could deliver something, he would not be a scientist at all. So faith is very, very important. I remember Swami Satyananda saying that this will be the decade or the century of faith. And perhaps that is why the COVID has come to shake us up a little bit, that we have no control over our lives also, not even over our breaths. We cannot command the breath to come into us when we wish, or command it to stay and not go when it wants to. So I said all this to tell you about the importance of faith. So when the third disciple asked Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he asked him, why do you do that? He said, a guru never answers a question. A guru always answers the questioner. The first man who came, who said, I practice ahimsa and so I didn't um, defend you, was not a person who practiced ahimsa. He was a person who was afraid of losing his face in the crowd. So it was out of cowardice that he did not fight. The guru knew it. So the guru told him, why didn't you stand up and fight for me? He wanted him to get out of his sense of lack of self-confidence and lack of courage. The second one was an overstimulated person, very ready to fight. And the guru wanted him to be able to restrain his senses. So he answered that questioner that way, saying, why do you want to get up and fight? Why don't you restrain your senses? Now, if you read this in a book, and what I see is often we identify with the person to whom the guru is speaking. And you don't realize the context. Context is very important in the in any spiritual science. Desha, Kala, Patra. Desha is the place where something is said. You know, if your child is creating a racket to go to school on the first day, saying, I'm afraid, Mama, please come with me. And the mother will say, yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. And she might leave the child with some kind teacher and slowly move out of the way. It doesn't mean that she's telling a lie. She is taking interest in the child's well-being and saying something which is allied with the child's sense of peace. And that is what the truth is, not a factual situation. When you are trying to do something in the interest of bringing happiness to somebody, smile to somebody, you're putting them on the path of the truth. However, when you're a seasoned disciple, sometimes the guru will give you a tough time because a guru knows that you're capable of this. So, and you have finished dealing with the outside. Now you have to deal with the inside. That is what Muhammad did when his uh, disciples came back after a war. They had won a war with the people of Mecca when he was in Medina. And then they said, we have won, we have won. They came so proudly. And he said to them, very good, you have won the um, smaller jihad. Now comes the bigger jihad. What is jihad? Jihad is a struggle. And which is the smaller jihad? Is fighting with people. You have the weapons, you have the competence, you can win. But what is the bigger jihad? Fighting with yourself, your own sense of pride, your own sense of I did it. I was able to handle it. And again, also to say, this is my guru, is better than your guru. All this is part of the ego coming in. That is the big jihad that we have to be constantly aware of. And what the guru does, as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did, was they look at the disciple. They know the disciple's state of mind. And according to that particular context in which they are asking, the place in which they are asking, the desha kala, the time when you are rushing to go to take your child to school, if somebody comes running from outside and says to you, please explain to me what is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, what will you say? You'll say, I'll talk to you later. We'll do it later. Does that mean that you're not being yogic? So you have to see the context. Desha, Kala, Patra. Patra, who is saying it to who? You have to see that. Is it a a teacher, a guru, a preceptor, and who are they saying it to? They are saying it either to somebody who is not receptive or to somebody who is receptive. So, depending on that, you will find that the guru is constantly giving you instructions to increase your chitta shuddhi, to get rid of your unconditional and make you on par with the divine mother who is completely unconditional in her love. So this is what we have to remember. And the divine has no desire. He doesn't desire that you should build a temple or give a golden crown or a golden chair or any of those things. We do it for our satisfaction, sometimes for our greed, because we sometimes you may be in a tax raid or something. Then you promise that you will make a golden necklace for the devata if he protects you. And you might get protected, and then you think the devata has done it, and so you go and give a golden necklace and you feel satisfied. That's it. No, what is happening here is because we are so used to bribing people in the world, we bring God, Bhagavan, and Bhagavati down to our own level. And we are talking about bribing them the same way we bribe everything and everybody else. So that we have to be very, very aware of and very cautious about. Now, the mother, has been identified as Parabrahman or Parabrahman Mahishi, the Parashakti herself. She is the golden Lakshmi, and she is said to have appeared from the ocean of milk during the churning for Amrita. Now, you have to remember, it's not that she was born on that day. She was manifested on that day. Parabrahman, Paramahishi, who is his Shakti, they have no beginning, no end. They are never born, they never die. When you say this is the birthday of Devi and I'm doing a puja for her, or Janmashtami of Krishna, what you're actually saying is that is the day the divine manifested himself. So you could see him. Even when you can't see him, he's still there. So here they are saying in the Srimad Bhagavatam, she appeared from the ocean of milk. What is the milk ocean here? It is the ocean of consciousness. And where is this ocean of consciousness? It is within you also. So when you churn your ocean, and if it becomes more and more sweeter, your own consciousness, instead of being discontented and unhappy, you start becoming happier and happier because you're seeing this love that comes from every side, which is being sent to you in difficulty. This is the love of the divine that comes to you. Then you start feeling happy. And it won't come to you on a regular basis in the beginning, because then you will start taking it for granted. You will start feeling entitled. I'm doing so much japa. Why am I not getting any benefits? There are rishis who have aspired for it and who have done tapas for thousands of lifetimes, and then reached a point where they are able to get to see a little bit of the taste of the well water. The well is the Bhagavan. And the Ramana Maharshi said, all I have had is a taste of the water as it splashed towards me. The whole ocean is still there. I haven't tasted, I've not even gone too near to the ocean. Now imagine a person like Ramana Maharshi saying that, and imagine some of us who say that we have been doing the Guru Mantra for the past 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, and nothing is happening. The point is, what are we looking for? First of all, it takes years and years of tremendous devotion and surrender to reach a point when things will be manifest to you. But it doesn't mean that before that things were not happening. Things are happening in your unconscious mind, which you are not privy to. That's all it means. The minute the Guru gives you a Diksha, whoever that Guru is, the vibration of the Guru starts working within you. So this goddess remains unmanifested during Parabrahman or the Supreme Consciousness, its non-manifestation. There is a creation and a dissolution, creation and dissolution of the universes. So when there is a dissolution of everything, we call it pralaya, or we call it the day of the last day, when the universe is cleared out, universes. Then what she does is she doesn't stop non-manifesting. She enfolds the huge universes within her, and she remains within Brahman, the supreme consciousness. The entire manifestation is enfolded in her and taken back to her, and she remains within the Parabrahman as his power of non-manifestation. She is the purest, simplest, most innocent consciousness, and she elevates the soul to the feet of the Lord and to his heavenly abode. So, what is that state of consciousness? Krishna will say in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, that action which is regulated, not comes in fits and starts, performed without attachment. So, in the beginning, when we do anything, we are looking for attachment. I looked after my children so much. See, now that they've grown, they don't even care about me. They don't even talk about me. They don't even look at me. That is attachment. That is marketing. Because I give my children this, they ought to repay me with the other thing. That is attachment. That's not love. So when you are without attachment, then you start seeing things. Then you say, I give because I love. When your child is a baby and you feed that child milk, are you waiting to see what that child is going to grow into and whether the child is going to stand up suddenly and say, thank you, mommy, for that milk? No, you do it because you love the child. You can see this picture. This is of the mother and Indra, the enlightened conscious mind. It is to this Indra that in the Lakshmi Tantra, the mother gives a commentary on the Sri Sukta and her own names. So it's that sort of a mother. So Krishna says, without attachment. Now the first part of attachment is saying, they say, okay, what I'm giving for the welfare of Loka Kalyan. And you say, God, Bhagavan or Bhagavati, I'm offering it to you. I'm dedicating it to you. That's what you say, Krishna Arpanamastu. Or you say, I'm giving it to the Lord. What do you mean? He has given it to you, so you return it to him. That gives you the chance to realize that it is not I who am giving. It is not I who created this. He is giving it, and I'm blessed to be able to give things from him. If you remember during the danas that happened in Rikya for Chandi, but when Swamiji Paramahamsji was alive, he would call different people on different days to stand beside him, and he would take the dan and give it to you, and you would hand it over to somebody else. So this would go on for one day, then the next day somebody else will be called. So this is what he is explaining. He's saying, I'm giving it to you. I means not the Guru. The Bhagavan is giving it to you. You don't own it. You are just a custodian. Whatever he gives you, you have to give it to the next person who comes, having taken what you need. So the Ishavasya also will say that, Ishavasya Upanishad, take what you need, but the rest of it you don't own. You are just a custodian. Even what we take that we need doesn't belong to us. It comes out of the great compassion of the Lokamata or Mahalakshmi, because she is the giver. So the first part of renunciation is saying, I don't want the fruits. That's what Krishna says, that you have the right to the action, but not, you have to do the action. You can't say, I'll sit back anyway, I'm not getting anything by it. You have the responsibility, the moral responsibility to give, but you also have the, you don't have the responsibility for the fruits of action, the consequences of it. So you can't look for credit. That's what Krishna says. And that is the first part of renunciation, where you say that I've done all this, Lord, I'm giving it to you. You know better who it has to go to, because I don't know all the people in the world, all your creation. How do I know who needs this? I might only give it to my family or to my mates or to the employees in my company. What about all the other hungry people outside? What about the hungry birds that are dying for lack of water? What about the hungry worms? Anything. So you say, I am offering it to you, the fruits of this japa. You don't say, why isn't anything happening to me? Because the real sadhaka, the yogi will not say, why isn't anything happening to me? The real yogi will say, I have done this japa. May the fruits of this come back to you, O Lord. And you see who needs it and you give it because it was yours. I only kept it for some time. Now, this is the first part of renunciation. There is a second part, which is hidden in the Bhagavad Gita also, but which you usually come to know from somebody else. The second part of the renunciation is that the person, supposing you're offering that food, supposing I'm giving food to 20 hungry children and they are eating. I can say, Lord, I'm giving it to you. And it is you who is giving to the children. I'm not responsible. I'm just an instrument. Now, the second part of the renunciation is these children who are receiving it from me, let the benefits of that also, the fruits of that also come to you. I'm saying it ahead so that if the children don't know also, the benefits of that will go to the divine and they get the spiritual merit. And this is a second way of renunciation, which makes it complete. Now, whether do they think of it that way or not, it doesn't matter. You have offered on their behalf to the divine, and the divine has taken it. And so these children will not only be fed in their stomach, they will also be fed spiritually because of this action, which you don't say, I did it. Even this action is prompted by the divine as a thought within you so that you also will learn to we completely renounce. When you renounce everything, then there is no expectation, no likes, no dislikes, and you're happy and at peace. So this is what Krishna says, that the action which is regulated, performed without attachment in a liberated state of mind. Remember, that is Indratvam. You are that is why they call him the king of the Indriyas, is Indra. Indriyas are the 5 organs of cognition and 5 organs of conation. Your hand, leg, ears, nose, taste, touch, all that. The Jnanendriyas and the Karmendriyas. And Indra is the king of the Indriyas. That is a mind that has been enlightened and is not pulled hither and thither by the um, lack of restraint of the senses. So, in a liberated state of mind, without a false ego. They don't say without an ego. Please remember this. People will say, get rid of your ego. You cannot get rid of your ego until you leave the body, and perhaps even after that. When they say without a false ego, meaning a sattvic ego, you see yourself as truly the instrument of the divine and you work with that attitude. This is a pure ego, a sattvic ego. And what is said is that where there is a sattvic ego, there Lakshmi stays. With patience, you shouldn't think that the minute I go and give something, there is something happening within me. You never know when your negativity ends, the previous negativities that you have carried, when it ends, and then when positivity fills you, and when that spiritual love and devotion for your guru or Bhagavan comes, then only you have um, that adhikaritva. That is um, that the competence, the right competence to be able to do this act that you're talking about, the perfect act that which brings that state of consciousness, determination with equanimity, all this established in sattva guna. So you see, you have to have discrimination, viveka. And when you have viveka and you know it is his will, I will do it. then you will go ahead and do it, and you will see how you think you're doing it, but he is doing it, and you just get that feeling of wow. So she is born from the churning of the ocean of milk within our own consciousness. Never forget this. It's not happening somewhere out there in another world. What happens there also is happening within you. So when you are struggling to see the truth, and you struggle more when the things that you like do not come to you, the things that are things that you dislike, the things that make you unhappy, the struggle and the strain, like the COVID today, you start struggling because you don't know where you stand. You say, I've worked so much. This is this much money I had, this much food I have, this much. I have been such a philanthropist, and now what's happening? I've been brought to my knees. Even my employees are not there. So that difficulty is given to us to let us realize that we are actually beggars. One time ago, when I said we are beggars, somebody was very upset, but we are beggars because we have to beg. It's very simple. My guru used to say, simply hold your nose for 2 minutes and see what happens. You will immediately start, when your capacity to hold it is gone, hold it with your fingers. You will beg for that much of air. Today we are paying, somebody I saw WhatsApp, we are paying money to get oxygen, and this was free oxygen given to us, which we misused. So she has two upper hands with lotuses, and these lotuses are sometimes said to be the feet of the Supreme Consciousness. You will see the picture of Mahalakshmi sitting at the feet of Mahavishnu. We don't have a picture today, I think. She is holding his feet, and there are some female activists who have come to me and said, why should she hold his feet? Why can't he hold her feet if he has to give a massage? You see, you are throwing the baby out with the bath water according to your own conditionings of what femininity and masculinity are. Realize that a man can have a mother in him, matritvam, and a woman can be so aggressive that she can be a man according to the circumstances. So this question of being a man or a woman does not belong to the Atma. The Atma has no gender, no form. Because we are born in the world and we have a physical body that is feminine or masculine, which is also not our own wish or will. It is the mixture of the Pancha Mahabhutas in that particular ratio. We call ourselves men and women, then we identify with the physical body as who we are, and then we have great um, quarrels, debates, conflicts over this thing. What must the man in my house do? What must the woman in my house do? Tantra breaks all that, and Tantra says the man and the woman are both within you. It is your energies that are called, the woman is the mind, the body is the man. There is much more, and I'm not going into that now, but to let you know that the soul has no gender. And then she, the mother, if you see, there are two figures. Most often you'll see it in trader shops. People will have a picture of Lakshmi and Kubera. Now, Kubera is the god of wealth. Lakshmi is the one who um, distributes it. So you'll find that when you see her in her hands, so her hands are out like this open, and she's not looking at how many coins she's giving you. She's not looking at counting the wealth that she's giving you. She just opens her hands and she's looking at you with a smile, and you get all the wealth. And that wealth is not just the coins and the money or the power or the worldly um, pleasant things, but wealth is spiritual wealth that you're getting. She's training you to become like her and eventually become her. That is the beauty of the um, Advaita Bhavana, that God comes to train you and take you up to be himself. That is when people say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. How do they say it? Not when people have an ego and then say, wow, I'm the Brahman, nobody can touch me. Not like that. I am the Brahman, you are also the Brahman. Everybody in the universe, every creature is the supreme consciousness, but modified and amended. So with Kubera, you see, he will hold on to the pot of wealth, whereas Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, she is the consort of the unlimited one. She is reminding us not to get caught up with the material wealth. You will see in the Ramayana when Hanuman takes the ring to Sita. He sees Sita as Mahalakshmi. He does not give her the thing, the ring that Rama gives into her hand, placing his hand above. He said, she is Lakshmi, she's the mother. How can I give her? And he keeps the ring in the palms of his hands and he says, Mother, take it. So her hand is above his as he takes it. And that is what many of the old traditional people will always say, never let your hand be above somebody else's hand. Keep it below. When you give somebody something, do it with humility that the divine is offering it through your hands. Then your hands become divine. Whereas if you put it above the other person and give, the feeling of I have given will be strong. Okay. So now when the mind is what do you call sattvic, then it is focused on the supreme consciousness. When it is not sattvic, when it is tamasic, it doesn't have a goal. So what happens? They will be talking in the Sri Suktam about the Alakshmi, who is, that means that which is not Lakshmi. What is darkness? It doesn't have an identity of its own. Where there is no light, you call it dark. So where Lakshmi is not there, you call it Alakshmi. And what is Alakshmi? Manifest as laziness, chaos, stagnation, messiness, impurity, negativity, poverty, dissatisfaction, ignorance. So you will see that each of these, in some of the shlokas, you will find that please come near me so that Alakshmi will be destroyed. What is Alakshmi? My own tamasic buddhi, my attachment to tamas. Let that go away and let me become sattvic, let me become pure. So this is a picture of Dhumavati, one of the one who is called Jeshta, or the first one. She is one of the forms of Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi. Now you must not think that everything, she's a wonderful tender mother, because she will teach us that she usually is seen wearing dirty clothes, unkempt, torn. She is found where there is gossip. She is found where there is a quarrelsome household. And uh, her Vahana is the crow. And Dhumavati is supposed to be a widow. So people think that only widows can approach her without understanding what is Dhumavati. Dhumavati is the experience that happens after Pralaya, during Pralaya, and after that, when everything is gone, she is the one who holds the whole universe in her womb. There is consciousness, supreme consciousness does not manifest, it does not move, it is not activated. So it is almost as if she is a widow. She has a man in today's language, which has nothing to do with this. She has a consciousness which is not active. So she brings in the sacred tamas of darkness. And then creation happens, and she turns into Mahalakshmi, who starts creating the universes in her form as Mahakali or type. So you worship Dhumavati when you want your sleep to become like meditation, when you want any action that you do, you want it to be worthwhile. You don't, we spend more than half of our lifetime in sleep. So if we are 60 years old, we are only working for 30 years, 40 years at the most. So when you have the Dhumavati functioning in you, in that state of sleep, she makes into Samadhi. So she is that sort of a being. The Devi is telling you to look at Jeshta or Alakshmi, not to get attached to the manifestation, the external representation, but to go deep in and look at the struggles and hardships that you are going through, the difficulties, the chaos, and find out of it something beautiful. Because this is how the world of the prapancha is. There is a creation, dissolution, beginning and end. Something beautiful, something decaying. It's a constant circle. When something is decaying, you have to come back to something that is born again. When you look at your clock, the hand does not stand at 12:30 all the time at 6. The hand will come up to 12. It comes up and then goes down, up and down. So she's saying, don't look at the manifestation of ugliness around you. What do we call ugly? The things we don't like. So she's saying, don't look at the ugliness around you. Identify with that which you are going to get out of it, the beauty of Mahalakshmi, which is beneath all the struggle that you are going through. So you will find that every Vedic shloka here in the Sri Suktam has its own Rishi, its own Devata, and the three Bija mantras, which are the Bija, Shakti, and Kilaka. For every slokam, it's different. And for the 15 shlokas of Sri Suktam, the Devata presiding over the shloka is a form of the divine that we approach and try to reach while reciting that specific prayer. In Sri Suktam, there are different forms of the mother, the same divinity, but different forms of the mother. And then you have the Bija, Shakti, Kilaka. These are, I told you about it yesterday, methods to unlock the power of the mantra itself. And this is usually given by a qualified guru who is initiating you. Now, you will always see that when people do the mantra, you do the Rishi Adi Nyasa. That is, you say, Shirase Swaha, such and such a Rishi to whom it was revealed, or your guru, the feet of that Rishi is on your head. So you do this. But actually, that Rishi is a sage that is within us. Because everything that has happened in humanity, everything that has happened in creation is locked within us as rahasyams, as secrets. Mantras will help you to unlock these secrets, and that is what certain mantras are all about. So the different rishis that are locked up within us that we are trying to open out with the mantra, they represent different perceptions, different types of knowledge, and different types of spiritual seekers. So when you have different gurus or different rishis who are part of this mantra that your guru has given you as a mantra diksha, remember, it is not that you are going to different people, because every guru is an manifestation of the divine when he gives you the diksha. You can't judge a guru after that. For example, your guru might be eating samosas on the roadside and you might say, oh, this man is supposed to be my guru. He's eating, shouldn't he be eating fruits and nuts? You see, these are all the so-called traditional rituals that are told to us so that we have a certain way of living sattvikally, so that we are receptive to a higher energy. It is for us and it is not for us to judge the guru, because we don't know the caliber of the guru. The guru is Bhagavan to you when you get the diksha. So in this Sri Suktam, you have 7 rishis. They'll come at each of the times: Jata Vedagni, Kubera, Kama, Kardama, Chiklita, Ananda, and Mahavishnu. So these are people to whom she has revealed herself. Now, the flame of aspiration is Jataveda, the wisdom within us, which is already there. And he will come in the verse 1, 2, 13, 14. He, in this, is usually addressed as being bright like the sun and moon, and he invokes her light, the spiritual presence, his spiritual presence, that light which is within us, that Agni from within us, what he's doing. Then when you have Kubera, as the guru. He is in 7 and 15. He is the god of materialistic wealth, and he praises her golden splendor, the Hiranyavarnam aspect, and he gives material prosperity to attract abundance into our material life. Now, you might ask, why attract material abundance? On one side, you're saying the material life is not important, it is changing, and go after the spiritual. Everybody says that. But there are times when you need material abundance, because how then? Otherwise, if you don't have something, how can you help another person in distress? When you have a lot of food in your house, it means that God is giving you, Kubera is giving you that abundance of food so that you can feed somebody else who is deprived of food. So that is the only reason we ask for material abundance. Then you have Kama, the god of desire, who is the Rishi of the verse 10. Here she is praised of as by him as a fulfiller of all desires. What does it happen? What does it mean? It means that it is her glory which is on in all objects of enjoyment. You enjoy a masal dosa, her glory is in that also. So you are enjoying because that is her glory is in that masal dosa, not because of the masal dosa. You love your guru. Why? Because her glory, the Sritvam is in that guru. You are enjoying that glory of hers in your guru, not because of the physical body of your guru. You love somebody in your family. This is what Yajnavalkya will tell his wife Maitreyi. You love your anybody, your husband, your wife, your child. You have such a deep love for those things and those people because the glory of the Divine Mother is there in those beings, and therefore you are attracted. So this is what Kama is saying. Kardama is the Rishi of verse 11. He is the first of her Manasa Putras, of her mind. He praises her as a universal mother, and in the Suktam, the sadhaka will invite him to reside, ask him to bring your mother and let her reside in my house as my own mother, because you are also within me. You are me. Then you have Chiklita, the Rishi of verse 12. That is a second of a Manasa Putras. He represents the softness and fluidity of water. So he praises the mother as Amriteshwari, filled with nectar, the Amrit. That is a sweet, soft, surrendering nature of the earth flowing. That represents the qualities that are dear to the mother. So Amrit on one sense means Amrityu, without death. Amrit in the Kundalini Shakti, in the Kundalini Tantra techniques, when you go from the Agnya, you reach the Agnya, you will find a flow of a sort of deep um, energy which gives you a lot of peace and happiness. This is called Amrit again. And it doesn't mean it is necessarily only something sweet on your tongue. Then the quality of the water, where it is able to go around. If you put a stone in its way, it will not fight with the stone. It will go around the stone. If you shut a door on the water, it will creep under the water. That is the mother's compassion. And that is what we have to keep in our mind, because if we are like the water, she will manifest herself within us. So rules, and that is why they say break your boundaries, because rules, regulations, limitations are meant to be used as wise ideals in certain specific situations. But when you go to the mother, you go like the Gopikas went to Krishna without their clothes. What are the clothes? The clothes are nothing but your persona, your image. You give yourself an identity. I'm a good person. I'm a holy person. I'm a frontline worker. You give yourself all these various identifications and you try to fit into that. Even if you don't fit into it, then the struggle begins. Because here you think, I never tell lies, and you find yourself telling a lie somewhere. So Don't identify with anything except with the water that doesn't fight with its negativities. It just goes around it. Then Ananda is the seer of the verses 3 and 6, which praises the spiritual power of the mother and describes how her various manifestations in our inner universe during the process of meditation happens. So sometimes you're meditating and people get worried. They say, I see a dark figure coming up. I see something that I'm afraid of coming to kill me. These are all nothing but the various manifestations of what is already in you, like dreams, nightmares. They are just coming out. And if you let them be, the chitta shuddhi happens. Don't be afraid. What she's saying is, when I am with you, what are you afraid of? I am the whole universe. Who can touch you? It represents the spiritual bliss, the third son of the mother, Ananda. That's why he's called Ananda. And the Mahavishnu himself, the verses 8 and 9, he is the Guru. He is the divine sustainer of her life, and she is his Shakti. So she is called the protector of life, where Vishnu is concerned. So we have done yesterday um, a few names of her. We came to the fifth one, and then we are coming to the, before we come to the sixth itself, Chandram Prabhasam. We didn't finish that. That is the fifth one, right? Or fourth, fifth. Okay, so quickly I'll go through the fourth one before I come to that, what I left off. Remember, I said Susmita, the smile, which gives you a great expansion. Her smile that you see. So, Om Susmitaye Namaha. Hiranya Prakara. I told you the Prakaram is um, um, the fort also. And the fort that you have is Sattva Guna that you have brought. And that Sattva Guna is the fort which sages used to cross the ocean of Tamas. So you, the mantra there, 10 syllable, you say Om Hiranya Prakarayai Namaha. It gives you prosperity and fulfills all desires. I told him Ardram. Ardram means it is, refers to her wetness because the Amrita is dropping continuously on Kundalini Shakti in the Nabhi Chakra. So in the Dasha Mahavidyas, you have Tripura Bhairavi and Tripura Sundari. Tripura Bhairavi is coming up the struggle from the Nabhi Chakra. And as she comes up, she's burning the fire of tapas. And she's cooled by the nectar or the cool nectar of Tripura Sundari. So they say Bhairavi burns and Sundari cools. So this is how they say such a thing. And the world is, she is um, the the wetness of compassion. She is the wetness of compassion, and the Agni that is coming in flames is they call it a three flamed or a seven flamed Agni. Three flamed is the three gunas, tamas, rajas, sattva. Seven flamed are the sounds, the Shabda Brahman, Sarega, yeah, Sarega, Saregama Padanisa, which is Yara, Lava, Sasha, Sata. So all sounds produced by the tongue, which is in contact with the palate and the teeth, and I told you yesterday, they are all part of her manifestation as Ardhram Jwalanti. Now, and then the last one is the Om Triptaye Namaha, means the fulfilled one. Why? Because she says, I am filled with the everlasting love for Hari. Hari is what? The supreme consciousness. When pleased, I shower gifts on my devotees. I delight in giving them non-material, that is aprakrita, sorry. in the uh, uh, in the translations of the Gopika uh, talk with Krishna, they will say Adaramrita Danam. Adara means the lips, and Danam is the give us the Danam of your lips, the blessing of your lips. Uh, and that is often translated in books as a kiss. It is not that. Adhara means, Dhara means the earth, the material aspect of life. Adhara means non-material. Adharamrita Dhanam. Why have you come to me? Krishna will say, and the Gopikas will say, we have come because give us Adharamrita Dhanam. Give us that blessing which is of a spiritual caliber and not material benefits. Please remember that. And and when you get the spiritual dana, if some of you remember when Swami Satyanand Paramahansa was giving dan during Rikya, there were times when he would say to mine own self or to thine own self. In other words, he is seeing himself in you because he is in the Advaita Bhava. So when he sees, or when a guru or God or the mother sees herself in you, where is she going to feel disturbed that doesn't have enough? So when you see that the mother is within you, then that sense of fulfillment will come to you. So um, this is a 6-syllable mantra which says Om Triptaye Namaha. And then she says, I satisfy Vishnu with the oblation of my gunas. I'm saturated with his attributes, because when you give everything to the Supreme Consciousness, you are empty. When you're empty, he fills you. So when he saturates you with his attributes, she says, by force of the stimulation of prana, I am constantly saturating the ocean of living beings and their bodies with the prana carried by 72,000 nadis. You see the compassion? She is so filled with the saturated attributes, the spiritual, the rasa, the essence of the divine, that through the prana, what she's doing is, by giving you the breath, through the breath, she is saturating the devotees also with those same attributes. Now you understand why at one time I told you, when you're breathing in, say Omkar and breathe in. Negativity will be dissolved. When you breathe out, say Omkar and let it out. Swami Paramahamsa Ji said that he got a agnya to remember the divine with every breath. This is what it means. In pure yogic minds, people who have increased their sharira, the sukshma sharira, my image is reflected, she says. Her Lakshmitvam, not the picture we draw, Ravi Varma's pictures, but the qualities of the Mahalakshmi within her, within that person. Tarpayanti. Tarpayanti means I stimulate with my divine power. I invigorate all evolving people or creations, whatever you want to say, from Prakriti to the Pancha Mahabhutas, which have already evolved. I pour life into the Pancha Mahabhutas, and they become people, they become all creation. So as rivers pour water into the ocean, like oil keeps the fire burning, I lubricate the senses of all living beings with my own consciousness. And because of that, she rejuvenates people, and she says, therefore, yogis call me Tarpayanti. Om Tarpayantyai Namaha, 7 syllables. It gives you prana, and it gives the prana to the entire universe. She is the one who gives prana and life. Padma Varne. Time is called Padma also. I am ever present in Kala, in time. I destroy everybody at the end of time. But the adepts who have gone beyond time, that is a person who has got a siddhi of Mrityunjaya, who has won over death. When death comes to that person already knows that it is only the falling of the physical body and not of the soul. Such a person, you would have heard of Paramahamsa Ji. He says, I'm leaving now. It's time for me to go. Then he sits in Padmasana, says, Om, and it's gone. The Atma leaves. So it is this that this person has been successful in defeating death. Death cannot touch such a person. That is why it's called Mrityunjaya, one who has won victory over Mrityu. Now, this Mrityu or Yama will come to such a person when he is leaving the body, and it will say to that person, it say, you know when you are going and how you are going, and when you are leaving the body, it just doesn't depend on me. Will you please tell me, since you know it all, will you please tell me when my end will come? That is death, when the end of death will come. That is asking for when is pralaya, because that's when death goes. And such a person, such a sage who has won over death will just smile and keep walking. Because everybody has to learn in their own way. So this is Padma, Padma Varna refers to the successful in the spiritual endeavor, because the body of the Devi is adorned with the color of lotuses, Padma Varna. What is the lotus? I told you, lotuses are nothing but Shabda Brahman, the vowels and the consonants, which are called gold and silver. So, Padma Varnaye Namaha, you acquire great Shastra learning when you meditate on that particular aspect. Now we come to the next Chandram, Prabhasam, Yashasam, Jwalantim, Shriyam, Loke, Devajushtam, Udaram. See that. Tam Padmini Meem, Sharanamaham Prapadye, Lakshmir Me Nashyat, Alakshmir Me Nashyatam, Swam. I submit to the mercy of Lakshmi, who is beautiful as the mellow glow of the moon, who is surrounded by lotus flowers, time. She is generous and kind. She is adored by the gods. Her renown, Yashas, lights up all the worlds. It is when the worlds are lit up, it is her glory that lights them up. In that Shri, I seek refuge. May she destroy all my misfortunes. Excuse me. So here, she, the Chandra, the moon, I think I told you last time, we stopped there. When she comes out of the Milky Ocean, a single ray, remember she's making the whole universe, creating it with 1/16th part and less of it. So you can imagine what her single ray is. That gives her beauty. It helps the moon to rise up. Since the moon was born out of the Milky Ocean also, he is called her brother, Chandra Sakodari. She is called sister of Chandra. Prabhasa means to shine better and brighter. Since she is said to be the brightness of crores of moons, think of that, Koti Chandra Prakashahe. She is the brilliance of crores of moons. And then you see in that how little is needed of her to create the universes. Yashasa Jwalantim. She's known to everyone because of her great fame as being that light. And when you're in the dark, where do you go? When you're a child, you go running to your mother, right? If you're a child and you're suddenly the electricity goes off in the place you are staying at, and you're a 2-year-old or 3-year-old child, you'll start calling Amma, Ammi, Mama, anything, because you want to know the mother is nearby. You want to know that the light is nearby. The switch is nearby. The switch is the mother. So her fame is due to her qualities of the authority over the entire universes. She is the power, that authority, and that is called Aishwarya. Sampat, the power to fulfill all desires, wealth, health, salvation. Sometimes you might have a lot of good intentions, but you don't have the capacity to do it. Audarya, generosity, that makes her easily accessible to the devotees. You see, you don't have to do a PhD to find her. Where is she? Where was she found? You look in the Puranas, a hunter by the name Valmiki, the Gopikas who were just selling milk. In the Bible, you will see the fishermen, not the great Herod or Caesar, the fishermen who were attracted by Devatas. So it's not our academic knowledge that puts us anywhere close to the divine, because the divine is simple, it's light. And when the divine is that way, when you have these qualities of generosity, of some competence to help other people, then you also become dear to the mother. Now, when they are talking about this, they mean that these qualities attract the devotees to her in the Prakriti Mandala. The mandala, the world, the universes that form a complete circle. And this they refers to the 24 tattvas and the 3 gunas, which are emanations from Prakriti. What are the 24 tattvas? Tattvas means that tat, thatness. If you drink sugar water, sugar cane juice, you will have sweetness. So that sweetness is the tattva of the sugar cane juice. If you go to something that is water, the tattva of water is the qualities that water has, which is specific to it than anything else. So these 24 tattvas are 20 of them is 5 jnanendriyas, eye, ear, nose, tongue for taste, and skin for touch. Then the 5 karmendriyas, the hands, the legs, which are arms to communicate with other person, legs to walk from one place to the other, the genetic, the excretory, and the sense of speech. These help in communication, and these are called the karmendriyas. Then you have 5 tanmatras. The 5 tanmatras are those elements that make up the regular elements. Like the regular elements are the panchabhutas. What are the panchabhutas? They are water, air, space, fire, earth, water, fire, air, space. Akasha. 5 Panchamahabhutas, they are formed out of the Pancha Tanmatras. So this 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Tanmatras, 5 Panchamahabhutas are 20 Tattvas in Sankhya philosophy. And then you have 4 more. One is Buddhi, the discriminatory mind, Manas, the rational mind, Ahamkar, that gives you a specificity that you are this person and something is different from you. And the Prakriti, not the Moola Prakriti. Prakriti is the universe of happenings which she as Moola Prakriti or Shri creates. So because she creates them, she is described as being pleased with Indra, Vishnu, Rudra, and the other gods. And anybody else who can reside in such a state predominated by the Sattva Guna. That is why she is fond of the rishis. Why? Because in a sense, they are helping her with her work. She doesn't need help, but they are her instruments. So, Deva Jushta. Deva Jushta, Devena Harina Jushta. That is, as soon as she came from the Milky Ocean, she looked around because the Devatas wanted her, the Rakshasas also wanted her because she was so exquisite. She looked around and she found that Narayana, the sustaining force, Narayana was the only person who was not attached. Others wanted something out of her. He was not attached and he had immense love. So as soon as she came out, she entered his heart, which calls her the Devena Hari Na Jushta. The great Shakti Kundalini. Kundalini is in a state of duality. Even when you go higher and higher with the awakening of Kundalini, there is always the supreme consciousness and its Shakti, which we are all part of, and we will see ourselves as two, I and the other. Even if I am the other in my sadhana, I will see that we and the divine is separate. So she is, they say here, now that this Kundalini Shakti is sleeping in the great ocean of milk called the Kshira Sagra. If you have pictures, we can get one tomorrow of Vishnu sleeping in Yoga Nidra on the serpent of eternity in the milky ocean. There are two creations that are two Rakshasas or two demons. And to fight them, you need the sustaining force of Mahavishnu, who is sleeping. Why? Because she's sleeping in him. And then Brahma prays to her to wake him up. So she withdraws from his eyes and his nose and everything. Then he is alive. She becomes alive in him. And he fights and he kills the negativity. So this is what is called the Kundalini Shakti, being asleep. And when the first thing that comes when the duality happens is the poison of halahala. What is halahala? It means um, the from akasha to la, hum and lam are the two mantras of akasha, space, and earth. It the entire manifest area where the individuality is lost completely in universal consciousness. The then the duality disappears. When you think of yourself as different from the divine, as different from another person, duality happens. Then the duality makes us slowly over a time of period of time greedy, and with that greed we are tempted, and in our temptation we try to dominate over somebody else. If you remember the story of Adam and Eve, you'll remember that both of them, Adam means that which was thrown down, that energy, which was the man, and Eva is called Hava in the original text. Hava means prana, air. The prana and the man and his prana are called the man and wife, and they together have been given the um, Garden of Eden. Everything you want is there. The trees, the fruits, whatever you want is there. And God tells them, do not touch this one tree. Now you see how it is. We all do this. Guru may say, I'm giving you everything. God gives you the whole world. He says, don't touch this tree. And then Eva or Hava or Prana Shakti had to go there and get tempted by psychic energy. That is, a serpent is always shown as a psychic energy, not spiritual energy. The mind will bring in psychic energy and tell you, hey, what are you waiting for? That man doesn't know enough. Why don't you take it and eat? Then he is afraid that you will compete with him. And no matter what you do, you cannot compete with the Supreme because the Supreme is everything. So here you have this quality, and once awakened, how do you awaken the Devata? You churn the ocean of consciousness. You are churning yourself every day. Should I wear a mask? Should I not wear a mask? When I have an oxygen depletion, shall I make money out of it and somebody cannot pay for it? Then bad luck. I will get money because I too need to run my home. These are struggles, and there are greater and greater struggles, like the struggle that perhaps Jesus went through when he had to say either I'm a child of God, which was the truth, because you are all children of God, or to let himself be crucified and not show his siddhis out. So that is called a Dharma Sankata. And there she comes and she is struggling up as a Kundalini Shakti. And that Kundalini Shakti is the Dhan of the eternal union of Shiva and Shakti. So you can say why? Because Parabrahman, Jushta, he is called, he is with his Chit Shakti, not Chitta. Chit Shakti is this Shakti of his consciousness, and that is inseparable from him. So they are not two. It is only for understanding duality and learning to go towards Advaita that we use these for the Saguna Brahman worship. Udara. Udara is unparalleled generosity of Sri Devi. She is called Guru Rupini in the Lalita Sahasranama. So I always feel that the Guru is the, at least to me, is the mother in that, and the tremendous generosity, because you can leave the path, you can make a mistake, you can say something nasty, but once he gives you the Diksha, he gives you the Raksha, and there is no separation from him and you. Now, whichever worship you give to any gods or goddesses, you might pray to Vigneshwara, you might pray to the saints, you might pray to the angels, you might pray to any power. Gods mean energies, a higher energy in the human being. You might pray to power itself. You might pray to wealth in different forms. There are people who will do an arati for their money boxes in the shops. This is so you can pray to anybody, but eventually Krishna will say, it all comes to me. This was one of the first things that I heard from Swamiji when I went to see Paramahamsji. I did namaskar to Swami Amritananda, who was sitting next to him. And then I turned around to do namaskar to Swamiji. And so I didn't even know him then. Then he said to me, he said, it doesn't matter. And he quoted from Adi Shankara. He said, I don't get the verse right now, I'll get it later. But as all rivers go to the ocean, all worship reaches the feet of Keshava. It's a sustaining force. Keshavam pratigacchati. So in the same way, she says, whichever god or goddesses you worship, eventually it comes to me, Sri Devi, or Parabrahman. She is the consciousness of that energy. And because they worship other deities, you don't have to worry that she will say, oh, he's going to somebody else, why should I bother? This is how we human beings are. So that is why in this tradition, you can go to the infant Jesus and pray. You can go to a Dargah and pray. You can go to a Vaishnava temple and pray. You can go to a Shaiva temple and pray. You can go to, but wherever you go, you are praying to the energy of that place, that is the Shakti or the cosmic mother. So, and when everything that happens in the universe, the niyama, the regulations, you know how the planets go in a particular orbit, how everything goes in a particular way, they are nothing but a projection from her. She is the one keeping that regulation going. And regulation, to be surrounded, the word is Nemi. So Padma Nemi, she's called. She is shown as being surrounded by lotuses, which show beauty, prosperity, purity, and abundance. Those are what the lotus also stands for, according to Lakshmi Rahasya Tantra. And also it means that with Sri Devi, or the Devi as a center of origin, All qualities like the rays of light spread everywhere, bringing the light of happiness to the otherwise dark and gloomy world. She is also called Padmanabhi, the one with the lotus navel. It is because from there all nadis in the universes emanate. Nadis are circuits of pranic energy. All important manipulations generally occur at the Nabhi chakra, where prana is stored. So when the guru performs certain what do you call dikshas on a disciple, the Kundalini Shakti suddenly is lit, and it can, if you are a very um, uh, a person who can receive a lot, you will see, and if you don't see, the guru will see the Sri Devi herself in the as Kundalini Shakti in the Manipur chakra of the sadhaka. Now, in certain traditions, kaulas and things, you have to awaken Kundalini from the Mooladhara. But when it is the Shakta Tantra, you do not have to go to the tamasic chakras like Mooladhara and Swadhisthana. You go straight to the Manipur and you carry on from there into the to the Devi. So you do not have to bother with all the dangers that you are facing when you cross over Swadhisthana or the chakra of temptation of desires. Then Eem is the great Bija mantra of Devi, who is Moola Prakriti, and she is called the support of the universe. The universe is a lotus, and she is the stalk. So, Tam, you see Padmini mean, Tam Padmini mean, Padmanemi. The Tam means Padma Nemi. They say Ta is Parashakti or Kundalini, like A and Ta. If you remember, Hatha Yoga, Ta is Pingala, Ta is Ida, Ha is the Supreme Consciousness, Ta is the Shakti. So Parashakti or Kundalini is called Ta. So when you say Tam, that is what they are talking about her. You say she is a combined power of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, all three together. It's there in Varnodhara Tantra. It signifies her Icha Shakti. With the her Icha Shakti is the Shakti of all these gods put together, who then flow into her like rivers into the ocean, and she gives them life and creates the rest of the universe. Sharanamaham. Sharanamaham Prapadye. One who prays for refuge in Sri Devi to get rid of the misfortune which is caused only because of avidya. Remember, I told you something negative need not be bad. It is because we think that something we don't like comes to us. Out of that, there will be only harm that will come. That is avidya. We don't know what we consider like a Dhumavati who is very ugly, the misfortunes, they will always have something good behind them. So it is her Icha that comes Sharanam Aham. Now, Aham is, I'm, when you're saying, please give me refuge, Aham means I. Now, whether you believe in Devi or not, whether you recognize her in you or not, it doesn't matter, because when you say Aham, I, you are talking of her who is within you. So you're actually referring to her. Alakshmir me Nashyatam Tvam Rene. What is not Lakshmi is Alakshmi. I explained it to you. Ugliness, lack, greed. She showed as a deity called Jeshta. Why Jeshta? Because she came out of the milky ocean of consciousness before Lakshmi came. So Dhumavati, carrying the whole world in her, which brought darkness, comes out first, and after her, when she brings out the whole universe, she becomes Lakshmi. So soon as she came out, she married Kali, who Dhumavati, because she was a widow. Kali is what? Kali is the symbol of the Kali Yuga. And when you say Appa Kali Kala, you mean it's everything that is nasty and bad and um, unpleasant is called Kali Kala. Kali, the time of Kali, everything Kali Yuga, everything goes from bad to worse, people say. So she is called Kali Vallabhe, the lover of Kali. But here you have to see that a Lakshmi cannot reside in a place where Sri Devi or Lakshmi stays. So the sadhaka is saying, I'm taking refuge at the lotus feet of you, mother, so that Alakshmi or Tamas Guna will not stay near me, it will go away. Rene means the choice, vara na. So laziness, lust, greed, cruelty, taking to all sorts of food that is not supposed to be taken, all said to be qualities a quarrelsome person that invite Jeshta Lakshmi to oneself. Here, the Varana, when you're praying to Lakshmi, it is the Guru will say to the sadhaka to give up these qualities of negativity. So you get Lakshmi stepping into you. The mantra here is the Rishi is Ananda here, I told you in the beginning. Presiding deity is Sarveshwara Pradayini Mahalakshmi. Now we come to the next one, Aditya Varnam Tapasodhi Jato. Correct. Vanaspatistava Vrikshotha Bilvaha Tasya Palani Tapasanudantu Mayantarayascha Vahya Alakshmi. O Devi, you are splendorous like the rising sun. The sun is called Aditi, is called Aditya, and the sun is representative of the supreme consciousness. His mantra also is A Purusha. That is why in Surya Namaskar you do Hrim, Ram, Rom, Raum, Raha. Why Ha? Why? It is not the sun that is rising in the sky. Like that, there are infinite number of suns in infinite galaxies. Here, Aditya, the one who comes first, the one Aditi, that is the one who is free, the one who is not divided, the oneness of thing, Advaita, one consciousness that is luminous, that is called the Aditya Varna. You are splendorous like the rising sun. By the intense power of your tapas, the wondrous medicinal plant Bilva was brought forth. Let the Bilva fruits ripen by the radiance of your austerities, eradicate the ailments caused by the inner and um, external impurities. Let them be taken away. Now, here, okay, she says, I alone make the sun brilliant. What is the sun here? The sun here is the divine consciousness. It's only when she acts, the darkness becomes light. So I am the one that makes the sun brilliant with the light, beauty, and illusions. Because she creates a whole world, universes. She gives you the illusion that you are different from her, you are different from divinity. We are reflections of her, but the reflection thinks it is you. I look in the mirror, I see my reflection. Can that reflection be me? It's not me. It's an illusion that the mirror shows. So all this is present in the sun. It is an essence of sound. Through sound, she creates the universe. And she says, I reveal all objects of cognition, past and future. I am the eternal I of the ancestors. Who are the ancestors? The one she has created earlier on. Celestial beings, the devatas, the higher powers, and human beings. She says, I am the eternal I. Why? Now you remember when I said Kamalaksha, or the eye of the like the lotus, the primordial sound that which allows her to look at the entire universe. She says the first sound, which is Tara mantra. Tara is that which helps you to cross from the duality to the Advaita, from the material to the transcendental world. Here I am, again 3 minutes late. I'll finish just this bit and then we'll. Being present in it as the potential in that sound itself. I delight the self with my own self. That is, she delights herself, that she knows I am the potential here. I'm going to evolve into something. My subtle body of sound is the subtle flame of pranava. I want you to remember this, because that is why I said, when you want to get over death, when you want to, who is Mrityunjaya? Mrityunjaya is the pranava in the breath. So a simple way to get in touch with her is to take a deep breath in and then chant as you let out, chant the Omkar mantra with full attention as the Omkar mantra as the mother. And you will see how your negative things dissolve. So this pranava, when you go higher and higher, is like a resonance of a ringing bell. That is why you ring the bell to the vibration of pranava. Everywhere, in every place, it is there. In a church bell, it is there. In a temple, Hindu temple, it is there. In a um, uh, Buddhist temple, anywhere, it is the subtle aspect, the subtle body of pranava, which which resembles a ringing bell. If you have realized Brahman, you will recognize my presence there in the pranava. That's what she's saying. I, consisting of sound, come together with all sounds produced by Aditya sound. Aditya sound is a pranava or omkara. That presence of mine, as from, she goes from the para to the pashya, madhyama, and vaikari as sound, manifesting, exists to produce all created beings. So there she is called Aditya Varna. This is in this mantra. Then the next one we will go. There here the 9-syllabled Om Aditya Varnai Namaha. It fulfills all wishes. So we'll go to the next one tomorrow. 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll manage. So remember that everything you look at us is her. Now they are talking of this Bilva tree. And in the Bilva tree, you'll find there were times when all the Siddhis are the Shakti, the mother. So when you say you have Chintamani, the Kamadenu, all the wonderful things you get when you reach Anahat Chakra and go along, those are all amshas of who she is. So wherever she goes, she there is a story of how she did penance to reach Mahavishnu's heart. The story goes that a rishi called Bhrigu um, wanted to test who among the gods was really supreme. So he went to Shiva, and Shiva was dancing with Parvati. They didn't look at him. So he said, they are no good. He went to Brahma, the Trimurtis. Brahma was listening to the Veena by Saraswati, didn't look at him. He was irritated. When he went to see Vishnu in Vaikuntha, Vishnu was sleeping in Yoga Nidra with Lakshmi by his side. So he was so angry and frustrated, he took his leg and he gave a kick to Vishnu, hitting him on the chest. Immediately, Vishnu woke up and got out of his yoga nidra. He held the feet of Bhrigu Rishi and he said, I'm so sorry that I hurt your feet. And this man was fuming with anger, you see. And Vishnu made him sit down on his throne, and he kept holding and massaging the feet of Bhrigu Maharshi. And then slowly he calmed him down, removed the anger, the Rudratvam in Bhrigu Rishi. And Bhrigu immediately said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see what I did, the sin I have done in kicking you, who's a sustaining force of the universe. So what happened? The story goes that Lakshmi left the place and went away because she said, I am on your chest. She tells Vishnu, I am the Shakti. He has kicked that Shakti actually. And how dare a human being do that to the power of the universe? I'm leaving you and going away. Now, sometimes you leave your best friend and you might go away and then you go out and you'd like to come back, but you'd like to come back also keeping your dignity. So the same way Lakshmi goes and she's doing tapas. Tapas is penance. The story is she went to Sri Shaila in Andhra, which is where Swami Niranjan also went one time. And she performed a severe penance to please Shiva. And Shiva was so pleased, he gave her a place in Vishnu's heart. She wanted to go to Vishnu's heart. And where she performed her penance, a Bilva tree grew up. And Bilva is a favorite of Shiva, the three-petaled, because it stands for the three gunas, the three devatas, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and the three devis. So this Bilva is it's a favorite of people do puja to Shivalingam with the Bilva Patra, the leaf, and it also became a favorite of Lakshmi. And also another time she performed a severe penance for the welfare of the entire universe in Kanchipuram, and where she sat, a Bilva tree sprouted from her right hand in that place. So in different places, the Bilva tree came up. And sometimes they will say that when a person takes Mahasamadhi, sometimes a Bilva tree grows in that particular place, or the disciples will plant a tree, a Bilva tree. The Bilva is also a very medicinal tree and a very powerful tree. So Lakshmi resides in the Bilva tree and its fruit is called Shri Phala or Lakshmi Phala. So just like Parvati resides in the Tulasi, Saraswati in the gooseberry amla tree, Lakshmi resides in the Bilva tree. So here Adi Shakti, the stalk, carries three leaves, which is called Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra. So the Bilva is also called as Vanaspati. Why Vanaspati? Because that which doesn't have flowers is called Vanaspati. The Bilva doesn't have flowers, but it has fruits. So it's called Vanaspati because of its medicinal properties. Its power to cure various diseases is attributed to the penance of Lakshmi, and it is used in alchemy, Kaya Kalpa, in Tantra, and in Ayurveda. So let us stop here or finish this. Tapasa tasya palani. This is this is why it's called Vanaspati. Then the Bilva fruits are usually sanctified when you offer to Sri Devi in puja. So the person says, please come here, Lakshmi, and Lakshmi, you are the Vidya. Come inside me as a fruit that I have offered to you. I am the fruit. I'm offering myself to you. I'm surrendering to you. So let all my internal Lakshmis, that is the greed, lust, ego, and all the undesirable qualities, lack of cleanliness, laziness, poverty, all this that is banned by the Vedas, let it all go through your grace. So Ma, they call her, she is called to remove the negativity in the sadhaka. So that is when you see her as the Ugra Rupam, the fierce Devi dancing, killing the Rakshasas. The Rakshasas are not just outside us, they are within us, our negativity. So if you see a dark, frightful looking goddess, don't be afraid of her. Worship her as Mahalakshmi, and you will see she's only coming like a security guard to remove your negativity and to fill you with her love and her light. So this much for today. So we'll go to the next one tomorrow. I don't know if we have another video or something. Shivani, if we have, you can put it on. Otherwise, we can conclude. Okay, so keep your eyes closed and we'll chant Om. And as you chant Om, feel that you are taking the Lakshmi to your heart, not to your mind. If you try to take her to your mind, it will take some time because you're playing with concepts. But take her to that place that you touch on your sternum. Negativities that are within you, the things that are disturbing you, the karmas that are bothering you, simply surrender to her, offer everything to her, yourself to her. Don't judge yourself and say, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm not confident, I'm this, I'm that. You are nothing, but you are the untrained, the unpolished gold of Lakshmi is within you. Difficulties are to put us in the fire and polish us so that we move to her as the, she's called the Vishwagarbha, or the womb of the universes. You are her child. Take her in your heart with great faith, and she will not ever, ever let you down. So let us chant the Omkar, sending the fruits of today's class for the benefit of the whole world, and send it to her, dedicate it to her, so that she will reach it to where it needs to reach. Breathing in. Om. 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishna Arpanamastu. So this is today. Now we'll meet again tomorrow. I hope it is a heavy topic. So some of you might feel a bit tired of it, but it doesn't matter even if you're putting it inside you, whatever vibrations Guruji is sending from where he is. And someday these seeds will sprout in all of us and become the fruits and flowers which will be filled with the glory of Mahalakshmi. Thank you for not being, for being here and helping me, because every time I teach, I'm also learning from myself. I know you have other classes, so I'm a little, I don't want to move into the domain of somebody else. So let us see if which day we can go a little extra so that we will finish, not to worry. And if we don't finish, then that's a wish. Let it be her richa. She will know the time when we need to finish. Okay. So just surrender everything. Thank you very much. We close so people can go to the next class if they have another.